It's an Infinity Gamechanger.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of series 3 of the Infinity Gamechanger. And this podcast is around 9 minutes long, and it's a question for you.
Yeah, go on.
And it's if assistants in your business. So it's if you don't have an assistant in your business, then you are one. And it's what you said at the last networking event.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true, yeah. And I will happily answer that. But we all know the rules. And the rules are, at the beginning of these, we have to pick a conversation card. So you've picked that one.
I have one.
Yeah. So read out the question, but answer it at the end.
This is a good one. I'm not going to read the question out. I'm going to leave them hanging. This is a good one.
You've got it,
this is personal. So it's, what is the greatest wealth in your life? And whoever asked it means a lot to me, actually. I'll tell you at the end.
Right, okay.
So the question came up at networking, and you had a really good statement, and it was to Gav, I think. Anyway, it said, if you don't have an assistant, you are one.
Yeah.
Because he was on about you nip to the shop or...
Yeah.
Sorry, anyway, yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's true. I believe that. As business, so go back a couple of steps. I think as business owners, our job is to drive revenue into our businesses. Would that be fair?
Fair, yep.
Right, okay. So if you're stuck doing the do in the business, and I get if you're a florist and you're making the flowers, I get that. But if you are stuck at the low level work, and that is not a slur on people doing the tasks, but if your job in your business is to drive in the revenue, but you are also the person doing the bookkeeping, nipping to the bank to do the banking, shooting to the shop to buy milk and tea bags for the tea caddy, or the admin in your business, you have to accept that the time you are taking out of the business to do those jobs that I agree need doing, you are sabotaging yourself.
Agree, yep.
Because for me, if you are responsible for driving the revenue of the business, you should be outsourcing the tasks that somebody else can do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pick bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Or payroll. Or balancing zero. Or QuickBooks. Other programs are available. And Sage. Can't think anymore. But if you're the guy with the fingers on the keyboard on a Friday night at 10 o'clock doing that work, I would question, is that a good use of your time? And even so, yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's outside of working time. You can still be writing marketing campaigns in the same... If you want to work at 10 o'clock on a Friday, work at 10 o'clock on a Friday doing things that drives revenue so you can employ a salesman so you don't have to work on a Friday at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Content, LinkedIn DMs, any of that.
Yeah. And when the excuse I was given, it's outside business hours. Well, when we own a business, is there really any outside business hours?
I don't know, because he said, yeah, but I get to work at 7:30, so I go before the shop opens. But you're still using that time
to do the
20 minute.
Yeah, in 20 minutes you could have, I don't know, you could have written a new email. You could have written a sales email in 20 minutes. But you didn't write that sales email because you were buying milk. That milk didn't drive sales. And it goes back to one of the things we looked at earlier in one of the earlier podcasts about, will it make the boat go faster? It goes back to that if you do not have an assistant in your business, then you have to accept you are the assistant in your business. And it's about doing the tasks that you can outsource to free up your time to drive sales. And every time I run this exercise with people, if we look at the sales that are going through the business, X pounds, and then we look at the time that is spent doing the tasks you can outsource, let's say 25% of the week, 10 hours. So if you look at the sales that you've got, and if you put those 10 hours into driving sales, what would the revenue in the business be? And every single time I've run that exercise, that would increase my sales by X and therefore my profit by Y. Mm-hmm. When we've then got that Y figure, And we've looked at what it would cost to get a virtual assistant. Don't have to be full-time PAYE.
Yep.
These could be a virtual assistant from anywhere in the world. One of the greatest things we've got is virtual assistants available to us in other time zones. So when I finish work at 5, they're the other side of the world, but they're clocking on for the start of their day. So the work they are doing is getting done while I'm asleep. I come to work next morning, and just like the fairies, it's been done for me. No, I've not lost any time. They've done it in their time. It's their daytime, other side of the world. Okay, the money that I've generated from having that time back has created a profit of Y in the business. Y is always more than the cost of paying the virtual assistant.
Of course,
and therefore, it's left residual profit every single time.
So working out someone's it's a VA is £15 an hour. How do you know your time is worth? How would you work out a business owner's hourly rate? I know you've just touched on it there.
Well, I would look at the profits you try to drive out of the business.
Yep.
Okay, you're trying to drive profits of X.
Yep.
And that's not your wage. Your wage that you take as a business owner is different to the profits.
Yep.
We're trying to drive profits. Profits are always more than my wages. Otherwise, I've got an overdrawn director's loan.
Yep.
So I'm trying to drive profits. Profits are X figure. Divide that by 52 and divide that by 40, because that's the hours we should work. Okay, divide that by 40. Right, and that will give you a figure, and that is what your hourly rate is worth. It's not your wages, I get it, but on top of your wages, you need to make a profit. Now, you can take that figure of X and think, well, if I did 10 hours in the business, what sales would I drive? I would drive this number of sales, and that number of profit would be X. That's a rudimental figure, because my argument is, well, you're already covering all your overheads when you got this figure in the first calculation. So actually, more of the money from this sale drops to profit because your overheads are already covered. That's another podcast to work at the 12 key numbers in the business. But when you drop that figure out and you get your profit, it's eye-opening to what you are worth to your company. And therefore, spending the time to drive sales rather than running to the shop to buy tea bags. I go on a Monday morning on the way to work, it's 20 minutes. Okay? We add this up over the week. Let's say we can get 8 or 10 hours back by giving tasks to virtual assistants. And running to the shop for tea bags isn't a great example, but producing payroll is. Or balancing off my zero on my QuickBooks, they are. Or doing a stock take analysis. I've done the stock take, but now I need to analyse that to make sure the stock levels are correct. All those things can go to a VA. Booking appointments into my diary for next week. All those things can go to a VA. Virtual assistant, they only pay for the hours they work. They're not on my PAYE. I get an invoice from there's millions of VAs out there. Done, and it's even better if for the other side of the world. Not that I'm saying jobs should go out of Britain. I'm just saying for time. Because then while I'm asleep, that work's getting done. I come up next day and let the pixies, I come to work and the job's done for me. But every time we've run the maths on, if you put those hours in your business generating sales, what would the profits be? Those profits have always been more than the cost of the VA, and therefore that's increased my net profit by doing it. And
takes another thing off their plate.
We have hundreds of things on our plates as business owners.
One of the other podcasts you mentioned about, you try and get, there's 10 tasks a day. It was the conversation I was having about social media. And a lot of people, agencies, we can bring it in-house and bring it in-house. Absolutely, but then that's something that you're in-house.
You're the assistant.
Yeah, so you're checking up and you have to do, it's just you don't ever have to worry that Facebook posts are going out or content has been done. Agency comes in, start of the month, all my content's done, that one day is dedicated to that. I don't have to worry then any time, and the energy of worry or planning and actually doing it can just go into other things.
Or editing.
Oh yeah.
Setting up, we film.
Just
we've got
goes out.
There's a videographer. There's you and there's me. There's the studio. There's all these costs. But if that was out with a VA, I'd just sit here. I would chat. I would leave.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yep.
Because I don't edit this. I don't post this. It's planned by somebody else because that frees up my time to go and drive the business forward. And I know that by driving the business forward, that is very productive, and I produce more profits, and that pays the videographer. That pays for this building. Whereas if I was having to do the editing, that would be time out of my diary. So if you're not an assistant, if you don't have an assistant, than you are one, and it's a harsh reality. And you need to, I would suggest, look at yourself honestly and look at the tasks that are not sales-led or driving profits. And could I outsource them? You'd be amazed at what you can outsource now. And you'd be amazed as well, the people you're outsourcing it to are better than you.
Yep.
And therefore do it quicker and do a better job. And if they're doing it quicker and you're paying them by the hour, actually, you're better off. So that's my view on if you don't have an assistant, then you are one. Okay?
Yep.
Right, so let's get back to the beginning
Yep.
of this, where we picked the conversation card. What was the card that you picked? Read the question.
So as I mentioned, it was, what's the greatest wealth in your life? And it was Bear Grylls, and he's the first autobiography I ever read, Bear Grylls.
Well, the question was from Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls, yeah.
Right,
How,
okay.
just by coincidence, yeah, I read his...
Well, Bear Grylls isn't the greatest wealth in your life. The
Oh,
question
he's
from
not,
him.
no. Sorry, Bear.
So go then. What is, I think I know this because
Yeah.
I know you so well.
The greatest. And I'm sure it's a lot of people will be their answer, but it is my little girl. Like, since... It's the point in my life when she was born, suddenly it just... I feel like I just got more grown up and just suddenly she's there. Will this make the boat go faster? Like decision, me and Emily, that's my wife, but when I was talking about, I came to your advice about buying a house. Well, can we leave cash? How much cash we got in the house and all? And every decision was lined around my little girl. And it's weird because having that front of mind has probably made me more money in careers and
Because you kept
smart
the focus.
decisions. Exactly. So I'd say,
That's a great answer.
being a parent, little girl, whichever way you want to spin it.
Being a parent is the greatest wealth in your life.
Yeah.
That's great. We don't want to spin that, mate. That's a fantastic answer.
There you go.
Okay, so I'll do the outro.
Yep.
Okay, so this is Series 3, Episode 4
Yeah.
of Infinity Game Changer. Just look around here. There'll be links you can click, you can follow us, got everything on social media, LinkedIn, everything's available.
Yep.
And we are back next week.
Yep.
Me and you are back here next week, so we'll see you then, guys. Bye.
See you in that one.
It's an Infinity Game Changer.